Hello, Aligned Minds, and welcome back to The Voice Within. This week was very challenging for me. It is summer in Bahrain, it's humid, it's hot outside. My son is not going to the school, so he is at home all the time. So it was very challenging to find a space for myself, to be anchored, to be calm, to be present for him, to be everything for everybody, including myself, while I'm trying to curve some time for myself, for what is important to me, for my podcast, for my content creation at the same time, to give my presence to my family, to my husband. I don't know, sometimes I'm thinking, do the males think like this? Do they ever contemplate in this way? How do I be everything for everybody? Or they just are? I don't know, sometimes when I'm observing the males in my space, when I'm observing my husband, I don't know that they have that heaviness that we have, like a woman constantly measuring and thinking, how do I accomplish everything? And the most challenging becomes when we become aware that we are not giving the time to ourselves, then we are trying to fit the time for ourselves into everything, and then the schedule gets busy. And it is very challenging, but it's not impossible. What I found very useful is really planning it, like literally making the to-do lists, making the schedule for the day where inside of the day will be time and space for my own things. But I think in this week, the most challenging part for me was that constant presence in the house that I have to give to my son, or I at least feel that I have to give it. I cannot run away. He's in the house. He's not going to the school. There is no that break between two of us where I can get back to my energy, get back to myself, so I can give to him from overflow. So I have to create the space for myself to create that overflow, to be able to give it to him. When this kind of situations happens, even if it's not a situation where the child doesn't go to school, when they are sick, when we don't have space to get the time for ourselves, and then we just throw out all of the plans that we made for ourselves, that we're going to go to gym, that we're going to put every morning a little bit of makeup, that we're going to take care for ourselves, our mental being, our physical health. We kind of throw that all out because the motherhood is requiring from us to be a bit different version than we promised ourselves to be. But this is the moment where we are actually building the confidence and self-trust in ourselves. This is actually the moment where we are challenged to, even in those hard times, step up for ourselves, find a way, not perfectly, not 100% as we wish to do, but still to show up for ourselves. This is the moments where we stretch that our capacity to discomfort. So this week for me was one big test. This week for me was that challenging point where I had to stretch my capacity to still do the things which I love, to still create, to still read, to still go to gym, to still do everything while my child is constantly present. And when we have this understanding that there are seasons in our life which are challenging and those which are easier, and we have understanding that in those challenging ones we are challenged to stretch our capacity to hold this comfort of life, and in those easy ones we are enjoying the fruits of our labor, then we have that conviction to show up in both of the seasons in the full presence, aware that, okay, this season of my life is a little bit challenging, but it's not impossible. I just have to balance myself a little bit. I just have to organize myself a little bit, and I will still be able to show up for myself in the way I promised myself I will show up. And what I love about those challenging seasons is the lesson that they give me. When you train your mind to start looking into the depth of life, when you train your mind to start connecting the dots, when you start trusting your inner compass, you start noticing a lot of interesting things in the challenging times. And out of that challenging time, which was all this past week, I kind of birthed this podcast episode layout for it because I gained so much interesting understanding about motherhood, about ourselves, how we move like a woman inside of our motherhood, how that movement is affecting other areas of our life, other rooms of our life, how actually the way we move in our motherhood is shaping our children in the end. It's modeling them certain way of living based on how we living inside of our own motherhood. So saying that, I want to ask you, did you ever felt that moment that you need the space like a mother? That like your children is just a little bit too much, like you need space, you need break, you need some kind of energetic detachment that nobody is around you. And as soon as you start feeling that inside of yourself, you feel like a selfish, you feel like a villain. You are even feeling a little bit ashamed to say, I need space. I want nobody around me. I want to be alone. It's feeling like you failed your child somehow, even before you said anything. It's sitting inside of you heavy, that edge where you feel, oh my God, I just want to relax. Oh my God, I just want to be alone. Oh my God, I just want nobody to ask me anything, nobody to demand anything from me. I don't want to be responsible today. I don't want to think about meals and emotions and my own becoming and how I'm speaking to my child. I just want to be me alone. But as soon as you say that, especially when you are in challenging times like I was last week, completely attached to my child whole week without the space to separate, you start feeling selfish. You start feeling, how can one mother say that? How can one mother say, I need a space from my child? It's something which is challenging for our narrative of what one mother supposed to be, how one mother supposed to feel in her body. If you go back into the time when you delivered your child, at least what I thought, that it will be some magical connection as soon as I see my child, and I will be overwhelmed and screaming and crying from happiness, and it will be so natural, like this is it, this is how it's supposed to be, this is what they show us, that mother-child bond. In my case, I was really overwhelmed with the joy to see him for the first time, but I was very confused. I was literally looking at my child and thinking, is this really my child? Am I now mother? Will this little human being in front of me one day sit in the therapy session and complain about me? Will this little human being look at me tomorrow and scream at me and tell me, I hate you, I don't want you to be my mother? It's like it was very overwhelming, and I was extremely confused, first of all, before I felt that deep connection towards my child. I could say that stronger was that need to protect him. Stronger was that need to protect him so nothing harms him in this world, even my own boundaries, even my own needs. That need, that narrative, which kind of shapes so weirdly, instinctively in the woman to protect the child, to put herself on side for the benefit of the child. This was very strong the moment I saw my son. So saying this, it's completely logical that from the moment we see our children, we want to protect them. We want to even protect them from ourselves, from our needs, from our preferences, from our need to have silence in the moment. On another side, we have social expectations from mother, what one mother supposed to be, how one mother supposed to behave. Is it appropriate and acceptable for the mother to say, I need a space from my child, I cannot stand this anymore, I need to be with myself, with my thoughts? There is that tension inside of us which builds up the moment we say that or think about it. What kind of mother wants the separation from her children? Does that mean I don't love them enough? And this is the old thoughts which are circling in our head, and because of them we start overcompensating. We start giving to our children before we give to ourselves. I'm sure that it happened to you that you sit in a restaurant and you order yourself juice, your child has juice in front of them, especially if your kid is a little bit bigger, and they ask you to taste the juice. This happened to me so many times. And you give them the taste of the juice, and then suddenly they want to switch the juice. Or let it be cake. They don't want what they ordered, they want what you ordered. And you just give it away. Even deep inside, you really wanted that juice. Deep inside, you really wanted that cake. You really paid attention when you were ordering to order something which you would like to give it to yourself. But you give it to your child. Because how can one mother say no to a child? How can one mother say, no, this is my juice? How can one mother say, we cannot swap the cakes. Next time you order this one, you can just have slice of it or a bite of it, however you want to say it, but this is cake that mama ordered for herself. And I'm sure while you're listening this, you feel that tension of, oh my God, what does it cost you to give to a child? It's just a child. It's not important. I heard this story so many times. And I used to do it so much, giving into whatever my child is asking me for. And I always felt that tension of why I have to give it in for this, why I have to give for every single thing. Yes, I love my child endlessly, but that doesn't mean that I need to erase myself completely for them. This was the tension which was building in me all of my motherhood, that narrative from one side which is telling me good mother gives everything and suffers everything and endures everything, but on another side that inner compass inside of me which says I matter too. Yes, I am your mother. Yes, I love you, but I'm separate human being from you. I have needs and wishes and dreams and preferences. I was somebody before I became your mother, and me becoming your mother doesn't erase me. And during this challenging week with my son, I noticed that split where I really needed the silence. I really needed to be alone with my thoughts. But I noticed how I was slowly in those small micro moments giving away to his need for attention instead of listening myself fully and balancing between two of us, what he needs and what I need as well, not erasing completely myself. In this week, while I was thinking, how do I be good to myself and good to my son? How do I move in dignity in this space? How do I find that middle ground where I don't hurt him, but at the same time I don't betray myself? And I started understanding that there is no way to do that without really respecting your needs. There is no way that you can protect yourself and give everything to your child if you are just continuously focusing just on your child. You have to focus on yourself. You have to give it to yourself. If you look into your motherhood, you will see that most of the moms, we drop everything to listen our children the second they speak. We never let them wait because we think their discomfort in the moment means we are bad mother. As soon as something is wrong with them, as soon as they feel a little bit of heaviness, this is something which says something about us, that we are bad mothers, that need to protect our children that was born the moment we look at them in our arms, and that narrative, the society narrative of what one mother's supposed to be, it kicks in and we completely override ourselves and our needs and we give it to our children, even if deep inside we feel that a lot of these things that we do are actually not good for them, that they should learn to wait, that they should learn to respect other people's needs, that they should learn even level of authority in parents. But at the same time, that inner dialogue inside of us becomes so strong that we just override it and we give it to our children. We do it without thinking. It's just like some kind of automatic response. And then we're going through the day, giving in these small micro moments. We're sitting, having coffee. The child comes to us, Mama, let me show you something. You put the book down, you look at them, you listen. Then again, or you cooking and listening your podcast, or you play yourself nice music, and then your child comes, says something, and then you put the music off to hear them, or your podcast off, or something which really makes you happy. Those little micro moments during the day where you just continuously overriding yourself, continuously forgetting your needs and what is important to you in the moment, and modeling to your children what does it look like when the human being respects their own needs. There is a space for everything, for talk, for presence, but only if each person in the space is respected with their own authenticity and their own needs. So we go through our days giving in those small micro moments, in those small interruptions, in those small, like almost unnoticeable moments, I don't know how else to call them, where we just override what is important to us, where we just forget about who we are inside, what do we need inside, and we just give it to our children. Yes, there is challenging part to this when children are smaller, but I truly believe that if earlier we start teaching them that mom has needs as well, it easier becomes later. And then the day go, we keep giving in those small moments, and then we collapse at night. Then we're wondering why we feel so drained, why we feel like somebody sucked the energy out of us. And sometimes it used to happen to me when my son was smaller. I would lay down at night and I thought, but this is not that much physically challenging. Why I feel so drained? I used to work very physically challenging job. I used to be cabin crew, flying for 16, 17 hours over the ocean in the States, being on my feet for 24 plus hours. I still felt that motherhood was more challenging than that. It drained me more, because at least when I used to be cabin crew, I had break. I finish my flight, I remove my uniform, and I go to sleep in the hotel and eat some nice food, and I'm done. I close the chapter and I continue with my day until the next flight. But with motherhood, there is no that break. break. There is no that close the chapter, the day is done. And I felt always at night when my son was smaller, I lay down and I'm thinking, why I feel so drained. We often tell ourselves it's just motherhood, it's just how it's supposed to be. But honestly, it's not. It's those constant micro moments where we abandoned ourselves so our children, they never feel anything hard. And this week I came to understanding of one part that I didn't see before, and I didn't quite was able to articulate it in the way I'm gonna do it today in this podcast episode. And this is so beautiful about inner work. This is what I love so much, is how you growing and how you have more understanding and you embodying more things in your life. You start to spread your lens, you start to seeing things differently, life differently, yourself differently, and it's like new book every day, something always new emerge, something new you discover, and you feel so empowered when you see how much you growed comparing to before. So this week I really saw something differently. The part of myself that I didn't see at first, even in the moments where I choose don't abandon myself, where I cherish my need in front of my child, but I am already bracing for possible impact. It's like I'm anticipating how my child will react, measuring myself in their eyes or in the eyes of society if some other adult person is present before the moment is even over. This is not presence in the moment. This is like defense. Because when my son this week was coming to me and continuously trying to interrupt me while I was doing the work, which means to me a lot, I saw that I would put everything down and I would listen to him. And in back of my head, I was already bracing for possible impact. If I say no, if I say leave the room, I'm finishing something important. If I set the boundary. And if you think really about it, this is not presence. Most of the moms do this. We call that I put down everything and I listen to my child presence, but it's splitted. It's just that feeling of let me avoid the guilt in the moment if I tell you no. So I will just override myself a little bit. I will just abandon myself a little bit for you so you don't feel bad and I don't feel guilty if I tell you no. This is not full presence. Full presence that our children are craving is present mom. It's I am free. I am fully with you. I'm locked in. I'm listening you. I want to be part of your world. Not just in those micro moments during the day where the children, they drop something, they say something, we listen to them and we just continue with our day. And if somebody would even ask you what your child just told you, most of us, we don't even know what they told us. We just like, yeah, okay, yes, that's a great job, well done, my love, and we continue. But this is not presence. And I started understanding during this week, I saw how my attention was splitted. And the more my attention was splitted, more I was trying to micromanage between my tasks, myself and him. He was asking for more attention because he felt it in his little beautiful body that the mama is not completely present, that the mama is not there, that her brain is somewhere and her body is there standing in front of him and saying, yes, my love, yeah, this looks beautiful, and I just continue doing. This is like literally defense from guilt. Let me just give you what you want because I cannot stand to tell you no and actually choose myself in front of you. And in the process possibly hurt you, that mother instinct. I have to protect my child because this is my role. I have to protect him even from myself. And the more I was observing myself in this past week and going backward in the beginning of my motherhood, thinking about women in my life that I truly respect like a mothers, and I look to them in the way they raise their children or raising them, how they doing, what they doing. I was observing some mothers which I know that they having a little bit harder time with their kids, and I was trying to understand, what is this? Where does it coming from? Is it possible that it's really just instinct because society is really pushing and nowadays some picture of the mother how it's supposed to be, and if we don't meet that standards we feel like we failed. The more I was digging deeper, I understood that this is not about juice, this is not about cake, this is not about children talking continuously. It's literally about blueprint we learned as a daughters, the blueprint we learned from our mothers. If you look back, you will see that many many of us never saw our mothers calmly state their need and hold the boundary. They swallowed everything until they collapsed, and we learned so early from them to anticipate other people's needs, and this is what does it means to give love. This is what does it means to love people. When we override ourselves for the comfort of other people, I think that this was our earliest training in self-betrayal. That moment where we believed love is earned by erasing ourselves for the comfort of others. And when I saw this, when I saw the depth of this realization, I started thinking, okay, it's not possible that we are wired this way like a mothers. It's not possible that this is how motherhood is supposed to be. Because the thing is, deep inside we feel that cost of betraying ourselves. Deep inside we feel that we gave something that we didn't want to give in the moment. And I was thinking, okay, how do we override this? How do we bypass this? How do we protect our children and protect ourselves at the same time? If we look for the need to have space, to have silence, like it happened to me this past week, does it wanting space makes me bad mother, or it actually makes me leader? And I was thinking about it, how our children start understanding what is appropriate behavior, what is not appropriate behavior. If I, like a mother, teach my child that every time he shows up to me, I put everything down and I listen to him, what actually am I teaching him? I'm actually teaching him that his needs, they come first, that we love people by erasing ourselves for them. We teach people pleasing, and we let our children go in the world with the blueprint, exactly same blueprint that we got from our own mothers. And then they continue in their life doing what we're doing, self-betraying for the comfort of other people, because nobody ever modeled to us and showed us what does it mean to live in dignity, what does it mean to love our children unconditionally, but love ourselves as well. I started going deeper and understanding, okay, so when my child comes to me and interrupts me while I'm doing something which is important to me, and when I give priority to listening to him, even if that what he's saying can wait, and I feel that tension and discomfort inside of myself that I was interrupted, I would rather finish what I was doing, that he didn't respect my need. When I do that, I show and model to my child self-betrayal, people-pleasing, and at the same time I teach him that he is the center of the world, that his needs are the most important needs in the house, that everything is orbiting around them. And then we wonder why our children, they become throwing tantrum all the time, why the children become like a center of the world, why they becoming like only their needs matter. Yeah, there is that thing which is developmentally appropriate for the children, that they are self-focused, but that at the same time, this doesn't mean that we're supposed to give it to our children to be self-focused. We're teaching them by modeling them that other people exist in the space. If we take what is developmentally appropriate for our children and just say, okay, this is the way the children are, we cannot do nothing about it, we actually, with our behavior, encouraging them to be self-centered. But if we take something that our children doing and we have understanding, okay, for this age of the child, it's completely normal and expected that they be a little hedonists, to be the people who are just focused on themselves. But that doesn't mean that we have to give it in. We can model them different behavior. And only way we can model them different behavior is that we don't give in to their needs continuously when it's not necessary. That we start respecting our own needs, even if it's need for the silence. Even if it's moment that we just need to gather our thought process, where we want to be alone, where we want to be without interruption. Usually what mothers do when they have the space for themselves, instead of using that space for themselves when somebody is with the children, they give that space to the tasks which are supposed to be done in the house, let's say. I used to do this with my husband. Okay, take our son and go so I can clean the house. Instead of giving the space to myself, instead of taking care for myself like it's the most sacred thing, because it is, and giving what my soul is craving in that moment. So if you really think about it, needing space from your child, having your own needs and vocalizing them out loud with boundaries to your child in an appropriate way so they can understand it, doesn't make you bad mother. It really makes you mother who leads herself and leads her family. If we say no to our children, not now, with calm and respectful way, we teach our children that our needs matter too. That our love or love generally doesn't require people to erase themselves for others. That healthy way of separation from our children. And then after we separate a little bit from them, the presence after that which we give them is more richer than the one that they were demanding 24/7. And I'm sure that you felt this in your motherhood, where when you had space and time for yourself to do whatever you want to do just for your soul, you would come back to your marriage, to your motherhood, more full, more present, more ready to connect with them, more ready to give from that overflow, because you filled up your own cup. But we cannot fill up our own cup if we are continuously following the blueprint of our mothers. Erase yourself for others equals love. If we don't change that narrative completely from inside out and really put what does it love means? Does the love mean sacrifice? Does it mean that I'm better if I sacrifice myself, if I erase myself for my children, for my family? What does it actually mean? Does it love means that I don't have needs, that I don't have dreams, that I don't have preferences, that I only exist in the orbit of my family? We really need to change completely that blueprint and set the new rules inside of our family, our own circle, and start teaching our children some better values, because ultimately our children will pick up those values and bring it into their own life, and hopefully end people pleasing more, and they will not have to go through the life with what we're going right now, betraying ourselves, erasing ourselves for the love of others. So the last week I was testing and trying this understanding in my life with my son. He is beautiful, beautiful boy, very talkative, with very powerful insights, and I really love to listen to him, but there is capacity for listening, and I keep telling him, my love, not every conversation can last 24 hours. It has to come to stop of one conversation. We say something and then other person say and the conversation is done. He's still small, he's still learning the social skills, but I understood if I don't start modeling him what does that looks like in reality, it will take him longer to learn it. So I started testing, and the other day I stopped him. He interrupted me and he started talking his own things, and I stopped him in the middle of the sentences. I didn't snap on him, I didn't shame him, I just told him, wait, I didn't finish, do not interrupt me. And in that moment, that tension inside of me and the way he looked at me, and he was like a little bit confused, why suddenly mama doesn't listen all of the things I'm saying. And I realized I wasn't rejecting him. I was actually showing him how to love somebody without losing yourself, how to respect and value what another person has to say without erasing yourself. So during the last week, I put it on the piece of paper, where are the areas where I need to improve his communication skills, interrupting, over-talking, over-explaining, all of the things that I noticed that creating that gap in the nice flow and nice proper communication. How can I overcome it? I understood that he doesn't understand when is the time to talk, when is the time to be quiet. Why? Because I never modeled it to him. I always allow him to talk whenever he wants, because deep inside I felt this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to give him platform to always express his thought. I shouldn't suppress him. I should let him be free in his expression. But after this realization, I understood this is not healthy. This is not good for him. Yes, he can express himself. Yes, he can say his thought process. Nobody is silencing him. But every talk has a time, place, and respecting other people's capacity to receive it. So I was mapping out what I need to teach him. Quiet time, play time. We first name it quiet time and talking time. Then he wanted to change it into quiet time and play time. So when mama has quiet time, he has play time. We made even, I put it one clip on my shirt to point him, it's a quiet time when he comes to ask me something, and it's just working so beautiful because we connect during his playtime, we spend the time together, we talk, and then when I say, okay, now the quiet time goes, I show him clip on my shirt and he goes quiet and he gives me space. And I was looking and thinking, oh my God, how I didn't come up with this before. I was continuously pushing myself to do something which I felt deep inside. It's not good for him, it's not good for me, but I was doing it because of that blueprint in my head, put it from my mother, which says, good mother gives everything. Good mother sacrifices everything. Good mother erases herself for the children. And the more I was modeling him this last week, the more I was focusing on teaching him what is appropriate instead of avoiding to hurt him, avoiding to reject him, avoiding to set the boundaries. The more I was focusing on being the teammate with him, okay, let me help you to learn to respect other people. Let me help you to anticipate and see what is your needs, what is other people need, to be respectful in the communication with other people. The more I was focusing into teaching him instead of protecting myself from guilt, more cooperation he was giving to me. And it was so beautiful that he started last week asking me, Mama, do you need quiet time now? When he saw me a little bit tense while I'm cooking, and then of course he's testing the boundaries a little bit even in the quiet time, and he comes and he tries to say something, and then I'm just like trying not to react, to be pulled into his conversation, but at the same time to point him that it's not time to talk now, I need space. He started asking me, Mama, do you need quiet time now? And it's so beautiful to witness that in your children, that they start understanding, okay, Mama is not superhero. Mama is human. She has needs. She has dreams. She doesn't need to erase herself or overfunction or overcompensate to prove me that she loves me. She loves me, but she loves herself at the same time. And this is what I want my child to take in his life. This is what I want him to have, like a blueprint for rest of his life. And maybe one day when he gets married, he applies this understanding in his marriage and expect different thing from the woman in his life in the future. So maybe this podcast episode doesn't carry question of, am I a bad mother for wanting the space? Am I a bad mother because I like the juice and I want to drink it by myself? Am I a bad mother if I say, no, this is my cake? Am I a bad mother if I say I need quiet time? Am I a bad mother if I say, okay, I see you want to jump and play, but you cannot jump here because I need silence, you can go to your room? Maybe the question is not, am I a bad mother for respecting my needs? Maybe the question is, am I willing to teach my child that my voice, my needs, my dreams matters too? Am I willing to teach my child that I exist as well in their life, and I am the full person, full human being with all of my complexity, and I still love him deeply, but I love myself as well. That's all for this podcast episode, this Sunday 67 podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you found some value for yourself, for your motherhood, that you can just grab today and run with it in your motherhood. Gain some new understanding from my contemplations and perspectives and what I faced and challenged and overcome in my motherhood. I really enjoy deeply using this platform to share all of this knowledge with you, to share my thought process with you, and hopefully one day I create womanhood without self-betrayal. Until the next Sunday, I wish you beautiful, beautiful rest of the day. Bye.